Greetings, YouTube. The Doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons & Dragons, and welcome to the channel that takes power gaming to the next level. Today on the Doctor Spell Prognosis, we are talking about the spell Anti-Magic Field. We're giving this spell a C+. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or comment. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you know when I've got another video out. All right. We're giving this a C+, Anti-Magic Field, which used to be a 6th level spell, which is now an 8th level spell in previous editions. Anti-Magic Field is usable by clerics and wizards. It takes one action, has a range of self. You cannot cast this on someone else. You can't put it in a ring of spell storing because it's too high level. You can't use a spell wrought tattoo because it's too high level. I don't believe that you can use a spell gem, but we can look that up very quickly in magic items. But I don't, let's see. Let's look that one up. Spell gem. You can put it in a spell gem, but it is going to cost you a lot, and it is a legendary item, so I would not suggest trying to do that. But I digress. So it is self, and that is very important to understand. The individual casting this, the cleric or the wizard or possibly a bard, could cast this spell in such a way. It requires a verbal, somatic, and material component. There's just a pinch of powder. It's worthless, so we don't care. It lasts for an hour, and you have to concentrate on it. This is a very situational spell that has uses in very situational situations. And you may have to stop concentrating on it because it is counterproductive or could be counterproductive depending on the situation you're in. All right, 10-foot radius invisible sphere of anti-magic surrounds you. The area is divorced from magical energy that suffuses the multiverse. So within the sphere, spells cannot be cast, summoned creatures disappear, and even magic items become mundane. You cannot cast a spell from within the sphere. Spells and other magical effects, except those created by an artifact or a deity, are suppressed in the sphere and can't protrude into it. A slot expended to cast a spell is consumed. So if you're in the middle of it and you cast a fireball, that slot's gone and the fireball doesn't go off. So targeted effects, spells and other magical effects. Magical effects. It's got to be a magical effect, but they give two examples. Magic missile, charm person cannot target a creature. Areas of magic are suppressed, so if a fireball goes off, it doesn't go into the effects of the anti-magic field. If a wall of fire is up, you can walk right through it. Any active spell or other magical effect on a creature or object in the sphere is suppressed. So if you've got an ally, we'll get to that. If something is going on, it will basically cease to function, but its duration will still be affected by this. Magic items are suppressed, so a +1 longsword is just a normal sword. Magic item properties and powers are suppressed. There's no magic travel going into it. Creatures and objects, a creature or object summoned or created by magic. So that would be like fabricate, animate objects, some of the illusion spells, those are gone. They wink out of existence. Such creatures instantly reappear once the space the creature occupied is no longer within the sphere. And dispel magic doesn't affect it. Okay, so we are talking about a few things, and I do want to talk about some situations where you can use this spell in combat. It does take an 8th level slot up. You pretty much are going to have one 8th level slot, so you need to really understand the situations you're going into, and then perhaps you might use it at that point. So, if you're fighting a beholder, probably a good spell. Beholder, magic rays, not going to work. It's questionable about whether the beholder's flight is magical or not. That's up to the DM. So if it is, it's dropping. If it's not, well, then too bad, so sad. And anti-magic fields don't affect each other. So the anti-magic field that comes in a cone from the beholder will also not affect it. So basically it neutralizes a beholder pretty easily. Liches pretty much neutralizes liches pretty massively. Can't cast spells. It could stop big bad evil guys from teleporting. So that is a thing if you wanted to prevent them from getting away. You could stand right next to them, especially if they're enemy spellcasters. They're pretty much going to be neutralized. And then your martial types can just wail on them and stop them from going anywhere because they can't teleport. It will prevent or suppress summons. Another really good thing that you can do with this is if you know that there is magical traps in an area, you can cast this spell. All of your allies, all your adventuring party members can go into the field and you basically can walk through magical traps because they're not going to go off. Now, you need to make sure that they're magical traps. So it depends on the rules that your dungeon master is using for traps. I typically use perception to find traps. I use investigation to understand mechanical traps, and I use arcana to understand magical traps. And then I allow thieves' tools rolls to suppress mechanical traps, but not magical traps. And that's just my choice, but you need to ensure that there are no mechanical traps, because mechanical traps are not going to be affected by this whatsoever at all. If you've got allies who are cursed or affected by things like feeble mind, things like that, then you could bring them in. The magic on that is suppressed at that point. It doesn't go away, but it is suppressed. And then lastly, your allies can use the field for cover. So you can have somebody be in the field. They're shielded from enemy spellcasting and magical effects. They could pop out, do a thing. They got a magic bow that's really cool. Then they can pop out, shoot. If they're another spellcaster, they can pop out, throw off that fireball, and then maybe pop back in. Remember, everybody has basically springing attack or whatever it used to be in 3rd edition, so that you can pop out and come back in if you got movement left. I mean, it only takes, you just need to be at the edge of it. You just pop out 5 feet, do your thing, and then pop back in. You can be in the back of it, pop out, come back in. You can be behind it. You can run out to the side, do your thing, and run to the back of it and use it as cover. Still getting, not being in it, but using the whole thing as cover and still getting everything. The last thing I want to highlight is DM use of this. So for DMs, this can become a very deadly part of a adventure repertoire. So for instance, activating an anti-magic field on players that are underwater can become very deadly if they are using magical means like water breathing to breathe underwater. There is an instance of this in the Return to the Tomb of Horrors where there is a tower that is full of brine water, so seawater, and there is a brine dragon in it. And remember, I said, don't use this against dragons. We don't want to use this against dragons because remember, dragons' breath weapons are not magical. Dragon's not casting spells, sure, who cares? But the dragon's breath weapon is not magical. So all those rings of protection and cloaks of protection and ion stones and all that stuff that's giving you bonuses to your saving throws, that's all gone. And in this instance, there's a anti-magic field that there's a trap that triggers and an anti-magic field that pops up that hits the players when they are deep, 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 deep underwater within this tower. And they stop, they're breathing water at the time, and then all of a sudden they're breathing, but they're not breathing water anymore because the effect is gone and they start drowning. So that is just one instance. There's many other instances for DMs to use that spell, but I just want to highlight all that. And that is what I have for today. I hope everybody enjoyed, and I will catch everybody later.